I was 7 months pregnant, hauling groceries up 3 flights while my husband sat on the couch gaming. When I finally set the bags down, sweaty and winded, he glanced over and said, "You're becoming disgusting to look at. You'd better drop that weight fast, or I'll find someone who actually takes care of herself." His friends laughed through his headset. I just smiled. 72 hours later, he wouldn't stop calling, begging me to pick up. "Ladies, I'm literally in a hotel room right now, 7 months along, trying to wrap my head around today. Am I overreacting? In shock? I don't even know. I just need to put this somewhere." Long post ahead, sorry. For context, Alan and I have been together 5 years, married 3. We met at community theater. I did costumes, he had the lead. He was the charming musician type, intense about everything. I fell hard. Things changed once I got pregnant. It wasn't planned, but after the surprise, I was happy. Alan. Not really. He said the right words, but his behavior said otherwise. More time online with his buddies, less help at home. I told myself he was processing. Men, right? Meanwhile, this pregnancy has been brutal months of nonstop nausea, then anemia, and now constant back pain like someone's wringing my spine. Which brings me to today. I finished work, swung by Trader Joe's, and headed to our third-floor walk-up no elevator, trunk packed with groceries. I walk in and Alan's sprawled on the couch, headset on, Call of Duty blasting, empty Monster cans everywhere. I asked if he could help carry things up. He waved me off, in the middle of something important. So I trudged those bags up and down the stairs, 7 months pregnant and waddling, 6 trips in total. I was drenched, my back on fire, ankles swelling in my shoes. I dropped the last bags and sank into a kitchen chair, trying to breathe. That's when he looked over and, no exaggeration, said, "Jesus, you're getting disgusting to look at. You'd better lose the weight fast after the baby, or I'll find someone who actually takes care of herself." I couldn't even process it. Then the laughter in his headset his friends heard. He wanted them to. Instead of crying or yelling, like he probably expected, I walked over, smiled, kissed his forehead, and said I needed a shower. The confusion on his face might have been funny if I wasn't breaking inside. Under the water, where no one could hear me, I finally cried. Not just sad tears, angry, clarifying tears. Every red flag I'd glossed over for 5 years snapped into focus. This wasn't new. It was just the clearest version. This is who he is. And I'm about to bring a child into this to learn that this is normal, either to dish it out or to accept it. No? Absolutely not. I got dressed in my comfiest maternity dress and told Alan I needed air and time to think. He barely looked up. I grabbed my already packed hospital bag, planner here, my laptop, important documents, and walked out. Now I'm at a hotel 20 minutes away. I called my sister, Anne. She'll drive in tomorrow to help me plan. Alan has called twice and texted once to ask where the leftovers are. Not where I am. Where the leftovers are. I need to leave him. I need to protect myself and this baby. I'm terrified. I'm 7 months pregnant. The lease has both our names. Our finances are tangled, though my paychecks have always gone to my own account, thank God. I expected a partner to share childcare and bills, but I keep replaying that moment in the kitchen. The casual cruelty, the tossed-off delivery, the audience of his friends. I should have left years ago. I deserve better. My baby deserves better. I don't know every next step, but I know I'm not going back there tonight. Maybe not ever. Edit. Many asked if this was the first time he said something like that. No. There have been jokes, the whole pregnancy comments, about how I used to be so hot, probing about my bounce-back plan, always dressed up as concern or humor, so I could pretend he didn't mean it. Today was just the mask slipping. Edit 2. For those saying I should communicate more or try to work it out, we've had endless talks about sharing the load since I got pregnant. His promises last 48 hours. I suggested couples therapy 3 times. He's always too busy. Today wasn't a bad day. It was the day I finally saw it. Update, same night. It's 2 a.m. I can't sleep. Alan realized I'm not coming home, and he's flooding my phone, first confused, "Where are you?" Then annoyed, "You're being dramatic." Then guilt-trippy, "I was just kidding, you know how the guys are." The latest, "I'd better not be spending our money on a hotel." Our money, when 90% is my paycheck, while he invests in his music and gaming setup. I've decided to meet with a lawyer before I step foot back in that apartment. I muted his notifications, and I'm trying to rest for the baby. My sister comes in the morning. She's kicking up a storm right now. I put my hand on my belly and whispered, "I've got you. We're going to be okay." And for the first time today, I believe it. First update. It's been roughly 4 weeks since I posted, and things have escalated enough that I owe an update. Thank you to everyone who reached out with support. Your messages kept me moving when I wanted to quit. After the night Alan called me disgusting for gaining pregnancy weight, my sister Anne came over and we mapped out my options. We agreed I should return to the apartment for a short time while I put my exit plan in place. Many of you warned me not to tip Alan off until I was ready. Turns out, you were absolutely right. When I went back, Alan pretended nothing had happened. When I mentioned his comment, he rolled his eyes, said I was too sensitive, and claimed it was just a joke. Then he flipped it on me, said I'd been moody and he was walking on eggshells. He even asked, "Do you know how hard this pregnancy has been for me?" For him. I almost lost it, but I stuck to the plan. Took a breath, apologized for overreacting, and blamed hormones and exhaustion. He relaxed immediately, convinced he'd won, and that life would go back to normal. He had no idea I was already consulting a divorce lawyer. This past month has been brutal. I've been living a double life, appearing to be the apologetic, pregnant wife, while quietly arranging my departure. Here's what I've done. Kept a meticulous log of Alan's behavior, dates, times, exact wording, and discreetly recorded a few conversations when he was especially cruel. My attorney says it could help. My paycheck already went to my personal account, thank goodness, but I moved my direct deposit to a brand new bank. Transferred small amounts from our joint account into my private one slowly, to avoid suspicion, recouping what I put in. Found a credit card in my name I never opened. Alan had charged over $5,000 for a gaming PC and other items. I reported the fraud and provided proof it wasn't me. Collected key documents, birth certificate, marriage license, bank statements, tax returns, and stashed them safely off-site. With Anne's help, secured a modest 2-bedroom on the ground floor in a secure building. I signed last week. Not fancy, safe, clean, and mine. Quietly packed essentials and moved truly important belongings to Anne's when Alan was out, nothing obvious enough to raise flags. Bought a burner phone he doesn't know exists. My everyday phone behaves as usual, but the backup can't be tracked. Doing all this at 8 months pregnant has been exhausting, constant swelling, back pain, and a baby practicing parkour on my ribs. But every step toward freedom makes me stronger. The toughest part has been acting like everything's fine. Cooking his food, laughing at his jokes, listening to bandmate rants, watching him game while I handle all the real life. Sharing a bed with him makes my skin crawl now that I've stopped gaslighting myself. He's gotten bolder too. Assuming I'd accepted his behavior, the mask slipped further. Last week he sprung a guy's night on me as they knocked on the door. I just lain down with back spasms. He came in and told me to be useful and order pizza. When I said I was in pain, he sighed. Pregnancy isn't a disability. Women have done it forever. My mom worked until the day before I was born. Not true. She later told me she was on bed rest for the last month. The guys heard everything. One looked uncomfortable, but nobody intervened. I ordered and paid from bed. When the delivery came, he yelled for me to get the door because they were mid-match. After they left at 2 a.m., he tried to initiate sex. When I said I was exhausted, he replied, "Come on, you don't have to do anything, just lie there like usual." I cried quietly in the bathroom and reminded myself I only had to endure this a little longer. The plan. I move next weekend while he's at his parents' for his dad's birthday. He'll be gone overnight 24 hours to execute with help from my sister, 2 friends, and surprisingly, his younger brother Rory, who saw an outburst last month and offered to help. The divorce papers are ready. I'll freeze the joint account, take what's mine, leave the paperwork with a clear note explaining why I'm leaving, and be gone before he returns. I'm terrified. I wake up panicked, wondering if I can do this. Then my daughter kicks, and I know I must. I won't raise her where her mother is routinely disrespected. I won't let her mistake this for love. My doctor says my blood pressure is elevated from stress, and I need to take it easy this last month. The irony, planning my exit is stressful now, but necessary for my long-term health. I've also started virtual therapy with a specialist in relationship trauma during pregnancy. It's been deeply validating. This is real emotional abuse. I deserve better. I'll update after it all happens. Wish me luck, besties. Edit. This is blowing up while I'm at my appointment. I'll answer questions later. Thank you for the kindness. Update, same day. Alan just texted, asking what's for dinner. I'm literally at a prenatal visit he skipped for a crucial band practice. Translation, drinking in a friend's garage. Somehow dinner is still my job. To avoid suspicion, I'll grab takeout. 4 more days until he leaves. 4 more days of acting. I can do it. Baby girl is measuring perfectly with a strong heartbeat, not that he asked. She's doing flips in there. I think she knows we're on the verge of a better life. Yesterday, while he gamed, shock, I secretly ordered the sweetest crib for the new place shipping to Anne's next week. This morning, I caught my reflection and actually smiled, not because I look fabulous. I'm 8 months pregnant and exhausted, but because I recognize myself again. The spark is coming back. Last night, I drafted the note I'll leave for Alan. Putting his behavior into plain words was liberating. No more excuses or minimizing just truth. I'm still scared to do this alone. Single motherhood wasn't the plan, but staying would cost me my self-respect, and eventually, my sanity. What kind of mother would that make me? 4 more days. Then, freedom. Second update. It's done. I'm out. I'm typing from my new apartment, surrounded by boxes and a half-built crib. And despite the chaos, I've never felt calmer. As planned, Alan left yesterday morning for his dad's birthday, 3 hours away. He was in rare good spirits, probably thrilled to escape pregnant wife duty. He kissed me, told me not to do anything crazy, and said he'd be back Sunday night. The second his car disappeared, Operation Exodus started. Anne arrived with her SUV 10 minutes later. My friend Mia pulled up with a small work truck. Rory showed up soon after, nervous but determined. We had 32 hours to clear me out. We went room by room, using the inventory list I'd built. First, my personal items and clothing Alan wouldn't notice right away. Then the baby things I purchased. Then furniture that was clearly mine from before we met. Rory handled the heavy lifts. At one point, carrying my dresser, he paused and said, "Alan's my brother. But what he's doing to you is wrong. Mom raised us better." I nearly cried in the hallway. Disconnecting Alan's beloved gaming PC, the one bought with a fraudulent card in my name, was the most satisfying moment. I boxed it carefully. Rory looked torn. I told him he didn't have to touch it. He shook his head, carried it to the truck, and muttered that Alan needed consequences. By 7 p.m., most of my things were out. We ate celebration pizza on the floor of my new place, laughing from exhaustion and relief. This morning, we returned for the final sweep. I deep cleaned not for him, but to remove ammo, packed the last items, and laid out what I was leaving. On the kitchen counter, I left divorce papers, filed, not yet served. A folder proving his financial fraud, including documentation that the gaming PC was purchased, with a card in my name. A USB with recordings of his verbal abuse. A note. Find someone better from your couch. I already have. I didn't strip the place. I left most shared furniture and photographed everything in case he lies. I'm not interested in petty fights. I want what's mine and peace. Doing this at 8.5 months pregnant was grueling. My back screamed by nightfall, and my hands were so swollen this morning I could barely grip. Adrenaline and the promise of freedom carried me through. Once I was safe in my new home, I called Alan, no answer. I left a voicemail telling him not to go to my sister's and that everything he needed was on the counter. I texted the same, blocked his number, and emailed his parents explaining the separation and why so he couldn't rewrite the story. Within an hour, unknown numbers lit up my phone, his friends. I didn't answer. His mom called my sister, they're close. Anne confirmed I was safe and that Alan had treated me terribly during pregnancy. His mother cried and apologized, unexpected, oddly healing. Rory says Alan came home early after my message. He lost it when he saw the empty apartment and paperwork. Then called everyone trying to find me, cycling through fury, confusion, and sudden vows to make it right. A few of his friends reached out to support me. Turns out not all of them found his behavior funny. Many were uncomfortable, but stayed quiet. One said they confronted him months ago, and he called them whipped. Another stopped inviting us to couple hangs because he hated watching how I was treated. I wish they'd told me, but it's comforting to know it wasn't normal to everyone. As for me, I'm wiped but relieved. The new place is small and bright, near a park, with a little balcony already set up for morning coffee. The hospital is 10 minutes away. I've updated emails, created new socials, set mail forwarding, and told work. They've been wonderful. Baby's due in a little over 3 weeks. My doctor thinks she may arrive early. I'm scared and excited. I know the fight isn't over. The divorce will probably get ugly. Alan doesn't lose gracefully, but my lawyer is optimistic given the documentation. Parental rights. Yes, he'll legally have them, unless he gives them up. Unlikely. My attorney is building a co-parenting plan with firm boundaries. I'm realistic. He'll be inconsistent at best. I'll provide the stability. Therapy continues. I refuse to carry this trauma into my daughter's life or any future relationship. Thank you to everyone who's encouraged me. Your words helped me leave when I hesitated. I'm still nervous about the future, but for the first time in years, I feel hopeful. Edit, same day. Alan emailed numbers blocked saying he's going to Anne's to talk and that I'm making a huge mistake. Anne told him I'm not there and she'll call the police if he shows up. I documented it in case I need a protective order. Update, next morning. He went anyway at 11 p.m. Anne didn't open the door. A neighbor recorded him yelling and pounding for nearly 10 minutes. He left our wedding photos on her porch with a note. I threw away everything we built. The irony is rich. This morning, he emailed a sudden apology, therapy promises, vows to change. The old me might have faltered. The new me recognizes the manipulation now that he's lost control. The message was all about him, his feelings, his wants, with no real accountability for what he did to me or our child. I didn't reply. My lawyer says all contact goes through her. Today, I'm setting up the nursery with Anne and resting. Baby girl is kicking up a storm, like she knows we're finally safe. TikTok keeps pushing signs he truly loves you videos, and I can only laugh. I spent 5 years confusing control with care and convenience with love. Never again. Last update. It's been around 10 months since my first post, and so much has changed that this feels like the right place to close. Most importantly, my daughter, Lily, is 6 months old, healthy, joyful, and the absolute center of my world. She has my eyes, Alan's nose, alas, and a fierce little personality. She started sitting up last week and is obsessed with a stuffed sloth from my sister. Her giggle when I sing and dance in the kitchen is the best sound I've ever heard. Birth. I went into labor 3 weeks early, just 5 days after the move. Anne was my birth partner and was incredible. After 19 hours, 3 of them pushing, Lily arrived at 6:22 a.m., lungs at full volume. The second she was on my chest, I knew every hard choice had been worth it. I didn't tell Alan I was in labor. On my lawyer's advice, I wasn't required to, and given his volatility, I didn't want extra stress. I emailed him the next day with a formal photo and basic stats. He responded with anger about not being called, demands for immediate access, then accusations that I was using her to manipulate him. My lawyer handled it and moved everything into a court-approved visitation process. A petty but satisfying moment. During the divorce, we found a hidden account. My lawyer fought for it, and a significant portion was awarded to me as marital assets. Instead of parking every cent in savings, I booked a 5-day beach trip for Lily and me. Anne came to help. On day 3, Lily napped by the pool while I wore my first bikini since before pregnancy. My body has different stretch marks, C-section scar, softer places, and I felt proud of it. Anne took a photo of me gazing at the ocean. Happy, confident, obviously slimmer than when pregnant. No surprise. I sent it to Alan with, "Already slimming down, don't worry." Then I blocked him again, reclaiming my body, my confidence, and, yes, some of his hidden money felt like the final cut of the cord. Rory later said Alan was livid. Divorce. Predictably messy. He fought everything, demanded full custody despite 0 prenatal involvement, wanted all the furniture, though I'd left it, even tried to claim my premarital car. Once my lawyer presented evidence of financial fraud and verbal abuse, his tune changed. We settled 3 months ago. I have primary physical custody. He has supervised visits for 4 hours every other weekend. Child support is based on his true income, higher than he reported. He keeps his belongings. I keep mine. Minimal joint assets split. He's responsible for the fraudulent card debt. Not perfect, but stable for Lily. Co-parenting reality. He's seen Lily twice. At 8 weeks, he showed up 40 minutes late, complained about supervision, and spent most of the time taking Instagram-devoted dad photos. At 4 months, he looked uneasy when she fussed and left early. He's canceled the last 3 visits with flimsy excuses. I'm sad for Lily, but mostly relieved. Each interaction is draining, and inconsistency would only confuse her. I document every cancellation, me, now. Physically, I'm healed and at peace with a changed body, stretch marks, a scar, and about 15 extra pounds. Financially, I'm okay, not flush, but steady. Child support helps, and I budget better without subsidizing his career. I even started a small fund for Lily's future. Alan, now. Word is, he's telling people I had postpartum psychosis and stole his child and money conveniently, skipping over his fraud and abuse. His Instagram is full of father's rights posts while he keeps canceling visits. Classic. I still think about the day with the groceries, how it felt like rock bottom, but actually became the moment that saved me. Edit. I can't share baby photos for privacy. Imagine the chubbiest cheeks and a grin that could end wars. That's Lily. Alan's mom texted from a new number to check on us and politely asked about visiting. She's respected boundaries and genuinely cares. I'm considering supervised visits with her, separate from his time. Lily deserves consistent, respectful family.